Well, in the latest Democratic debate, presidential candidate Dennis Kucinich said he'd seen one, so has Jimmy Carter. So did a pilot who traveled from Iran to Washington so he could speak out today about his encounter with a UFO. Now, unidentified flying object means just that, unidentified. It says nothing about what or from where. But for years now, polling has shown that a majority of Americans believe the government, our government, simply isn't telling all it knows about those lights in the sky, whatever they are. Well, tonight, CNN's Gary Tuchman investigates.
If you flew on Air France from Nice to London on January 28, 1994, your captain says he saw a UFO 1,000 feet long just outside your window.
It seemed to be a huge flying disc.
The now retired pilot is one of 14 men, mainly former government and military officials from 7 different countries, talking about their UFO experiences.
It disappeared in about 10 to 20 seconds.
This conference took place in Washington, and the cast of characters was almost strangely, well, conventional. One of the believers, former governor of Arizona, Fife Symington.
I saw something that defied logic and challenged my reality.
During a visit to Phoenix, Symington described to me what he saw.
If you had been here 10 years ago and standing out here and looking up there at the lights and the view, you would have been astounded. You would have been amazed.
The so-called Phoenix lights were seen by many people in 1997. Skeptics say they were military aircraft or flares, but not the former governor.
It was probably some form of an alien spacecraft.
Lots of agreement on this panel. This retired Iranian Air Force pilot said he saw a UFO while flying.
It looked similar to a star, but bigger and brighter.
General Parviz Jafari says he tried to fire a missile, but much of his plane became inoperative.
All the instrument was fluctuating, the radio had garbled, even I couldn't have communication with my pilot in my back seat with operating the radar.
So none of your equipment worked, your missiles didn't work. Do you think it's because this was an alien from another world? You're sure of that?
Yeah, I'm sure.
This retired U.S. Air Force sergeant stationed in England said he walked up to a UFO that landed in a forest.
It maneuvered through the trees and shot off at an unbelievable rate of speed.
A man running for president just said he saw a UFO.
I did, and the rest of the account, it was unidentified flying object.
And so did a man who was president.
I and about 25 others saw something in the air that changed colors and was round and came.
Although Jimmy Carter says he doesn't think it was from another planet, most of these people differ on that point and want the FAA to investigate all these claims. But the FAA says that's not its job. We manage the aircraft that we're talking to. UFOs are called UFOs because they're unidentified, and we're not talking to them. And it's precisely because no one's talking that everybody here is trying harder to make them believe. Gary Tuchman, CNN, Washington.
Well, we're going to talk with the man who organized the conference coming up next. He also made a film investigating 50 years what he calls official contradictions and denials. We'll also hear from a noted astronomer and UFO skeptic. We'll be right back. Now, we don't take sides on 360. We like to present you with facts and information from different angles and let you make up your own minds about things. That's particularly true with mysteries. And for many Americans, there's no mystery greater than UFOs. James Fox helped organize today's UFO-related event in Washington. He directed the film Out of the Blue. He joins me now, along with astronomer, former Air Force pilot and skeptic, James McGaha. Thanks for being with us, both of you. Let me start off with you, James Fox. You helped organize the panel. Why? What are you hoping to accomplish?
We want to establish the fact that the phenomenon is real and it's taking place worldwide. And the reason why we got a panel of 14 high-ranking military and government officials from 7 countries who these guys officially investigated these cases for their governments and military. So it's not like private investigators. These are official military and government people.
But James Fox, to those who say, look, there's no actual evidence, I mean, there's no recovered spacecraft, there's no actual evidence, what do you say?
I say, well, we got photographic, radar confirmation, visual confirmation, landing trace cases. There were imprints in the ground for where these things were reportedly landed. You know, and these government and military officials are telling us these things are real. I think we should listen.
James McGaha, I know you're skeptical. Why?
Well, UFOs are basically a modern space-age mythology. It's a conspiracy wrapped in superstition and myth and magic. People see lights in the sky and somehow they equate those lights in the sky to spacecraft from another world. It's really wish fulfillment. It's almost a fairy tale among many people to believe that somehow either doom or salvation is coming from the sky. It's a very old concept in human thinking. But I should say, when we talk about pilots, there's this incredible misidentification idea about pilots being trained observers. Pilots are not trained observers. They're trained to fly airplanes. They are some of the worst people at identifying objects in the sky that aren't other airplanes. They're trained to react quickly in an airplane, which very often makes them react to wrong stimuli.
James Fox, what about that?
Okay, well, let me say something. Mr. McGaha, although I do respect your opinion on this, you keep misleading the public when you say that these are ambiguous distant lights off at a distance. These are not. These are unambiguous, up-close and personal cases where, in one case in Bentwaters in 1980, they actually touched the UFO on the ground. And this was witnessed by 80 people.
I am quite skeptical that anyone touched anything at Bentwaters. Well, and it wasn't at Bentwaters, it was actually at Woodbridge.
With all due respect, sir, I don't think you were there.
James McGaha, why shouldn't there be more investigation? Why should what this panel is calling for essentially is some sort of government investigation of it? Why shouldn't there be further investigation?
Well, there have been investigations, and it was. Well, hang on a second. Let me just state this clearly. One of the things you keep interrupting me, sir. Please. One of the things I want to mention very quickly is that the official position from the Air Force is that they terminated Project Blue Book in 1969, and there has been no official investigation since then. However, we found evidence to suggest the contrary. On a number of cases in Tehran, the general said the Americans were making discrete inquiries about the case there, as well as Bentwaters, England. The colonel said that the OSI came in and investigated that case.
So you believe there is a government investigation going on, you just want it more public?
They're making discrete inquiries, unofficially, yes.
James McGaha, final thought.
Yes, they are making discrete inquiries about strange things that happen, not about UFOs or alien spacecraft. That's not what's going on at all.
They're responsible for the security and deployment of nuclear weapons. If you think they're out there hallucinating, why do they all get promoted?
Well,
we're gonna have to leave it there.
If we had time, I could actually tell you what happened that night. It's very prosaic, involving lights in the sky, and that's all.
It's not lights in the sky, sir. Thank you.
No doubt a debate we're not going to settle tonight, but we do appreciate you guys talking about it. James Fox, James McGaha, thank you.